Hi everyone, welcome to my channel CoryCreates. This is a channel about cross stitch and sewing and quilting and all of the creative things that I do. My name is Corinne and I am so glad to have you with me today. Today is August 31st, 2024, and this is Flosstube number 29. So I will be primarily sharing cross stitch with you today. Welcome if you are a new subscriber. I've gotten quite a few over the last month, so I am so glad that you have decided to join me on this creative journey, and welcome back to my returning friends. I am so glad to be back before you. It was not my intention to stay away this long, but if you've been following me for any length of time, you already know that I told you this was going to be a busy summer, and it has been even busier than I thought. So I have a lot to share with you today, and I am going to jump right in. It's a little warm here. Hopefully I won't break out into a sweat anytime during this video, but it was in the hundreds earlier this week in St. Louis, but it's down to like 85 or so now, and you won't hear me complaining. I love the heat. I like knowing exactly what I'm going to wear every day. Fall is starting to grow on me a little bit. It's my husband's favorite season because that's when his birthday is, but me, I like it hot. So I hold on to summer as much as possible. He's ready for fall. I'm not. Bring on the 80s and the 90s. You can keep it that way till October. I'm fine. And in St. Louis, it usually does stay pretty warm until about October, early October. And then it kind of fluctuates. We get some really big fluctuations throughout the month of October, and then by early November, usually we've had our first frost. So that's how it is here, but it's been a pretty overcast day today. Cooled off a little bit. I think it was 85, something like that. So I welcome it. I like it to stay hot as long as possible. So what do I have for you today? I have a new start. No, I'm sorry. I have 4 new starts. I have 1 finish, a lot of whips because I have done quite a bit of stitching. I did some shopping, and I have a couple of shout outs that I want to give at the end. So we are going to go ahead and jump right in. The first thing I have for you today is my finish, and that is my Lipton tea finish. Before I show any of my whips, I will always try to put a picture in of where I was the last time I showed it. And here is my Lipton tea guy. This was done on 14 count red Aida that came from my stash. I don't work on Aida anymore like I used to, but this was perfect for this particular design. Not a lot of back stitching, and it was the perfect shade of red for what I wanted to do. So this came from, I believe, a book, but somebody gave me a copy of this design many years ago, and I'm just now getting around to doing it. But it was a very simple and easy stitch. I enjoyed it very much. I'm hoping to do the other ones that were in this collection. I believe there was like a Morton Salt, Quaker Oats, Smuckers, Welch's, Carnation, Evaporated Milk, Ghirardelli's, Baker's Chocolate. It was a whole lot of them. And I've picked a few that I'd like to eventually do and display like in the kitchen or somewhere near the pantry area. If I have a walk-in pantry, I want to display them in there. So again, that is the Lipton Tea Logo. And that was a January 1st start for me. So I'm glad to have that one done. So next I want to take you into my new starts. And again, I have 4. I don't think I've ever said that before on my Flosstube, but yes, I have 4. 2 are smalls. 1 is a pretty good size, and the other one is actually, I consider it a new start, but it's actually a continuation of a series that I'm doing all on one big piece. And this is the next installment of that series. So let me start with my 2 smalls first. This is Give Thanks by Lizzie Kate. I'm just going to flash it real quick because I could not find a picture of it already done up. But it's just a tiny little freebie that I got from somewhere. And again, it's been in a, you see I hole punch all my stuff and put them in a binder. But it looks like it came out in 2018. And if I recall, I want to say I maybe got this off of her Lizzie Kate's website. I'm not for sure. But anyway, I got a little bit of a start. It says Give Thanks. And I'm not even going to put this on the board. I got the word thanks done. I think I just did this at work one day at lunch. And I always try to have a work stitch. So this one and the next one will definitely be my work stitches for the next month or so. But this one's going to be done in no time. I only got one more word and then the little acorns and some small little pumpkins that go on it. This is a 16 count Ada. It's a mystery Ada though. It came out of my stash. I have no idea what color it is, but it's like a almost like a wheat color. It's very neutral. So I'm glad to have that done, or have it started at least. Okay. The next one is the one I mentioned that was a continuation of the series, and that is Big City Christmas by Cottage Needleworks. This is the toy store. I've already done the department store and I've done the theater. So here is my very meager start. I started this last weekend when I went to go see Layla play volleyball. But here is where it begins right here. So this is my start. I did a few leaves here, but this is my start. So very small, but I'm just glad to be starting the next one and to keep it moving. That's the goal with this one, is just to keep it moving. I started this last year and I only got one of the buildings done. This one I got done this year. So I would like to get at least one more done this year. And then next year, I'm going to push to finish this completely next year. But I'm doing it all on one piece. This is a 32 count lamb's wool Lugana, which is the called for. So it's coming along. I'm just glad I got another start on it so I can keep moving forward. So this next one is another small. This is a freebie by Crochette Gogo, and this is the squirrel. It says it was a 2023 freebie, and it's a squirrel. I have a binder full of freebies and a binder full of, purchase patterns that I keep. And when I just want to do something different, I just kind of thumb through it and pull things out. And I wanted to pull out a couple of falls. So this one and the Give Thanks were the two that I picked out. I've already pulled out some Christmas ones that I want to get started within the next couple of months. But I'm going to focus on these two right now. So this one, the stitch count on this is 47 by 53. So it's pretty small. I'm doing this on an 18 count Ada, a summer khaki color Ada. And I want to say I got it from Needleworker Jim when he comes to Needlework Galleria, which I'll talk about also today. But here is my start. This is maybe 2 days of stitching. It's tiny. It's an 18 count, so it's pretty tiny. But I'm enjoying it very, very much. There's a section though right here. This is his head. And then this is that big bushy tail. There's like 2 or 3 colors in that tail, and they are very close together. So I have to definitely have good light when I'm working on this, and I try to do all of one color before I move on to a section of the next color, because it's very hard to tell. I mean, all 3 of these colors are different. There's 2 in the tail and 1 in his face, completely different colors. But I'm enjoying it. It's going to go pretty fast because, as you can see, I'm almost totally done with the top half. So I just got a little bit more to go on the top half. You can get this on the Crochette Gogo website. That's where I got it. I've never done a Crochette Gogo before, so I just kind of wanted to do a small one and kind of see how I like it, because I do have my eye on a few of their patterns. So again, that is 2023 freebie squirrel. So I'm excited about that one. That's going to be definitely another work stitch. That's small enough that I can take it with me. And even though I have to concentrate on it a little bit, it won't be something that I will have to be too focused on in order to make progress. Okay, this next one, it's been hard to put it down. It is the Nutcracker tree by Tiny Modernist. You all, I don't even like the Nutcracker like that, but I love this pattern. It is fun to stitch. It doesn't have a plethora of color changes like I usually gravitate toward, but it is a fun stitch. And I think because I like being able to complete the little motifs a little at a time. So here is my new start on this. I am doing this on a Splash 32 count Splash Lugana. Hold on, I have my little piece of paper that had that written on it, but oh, there it is. Hold on. 32 count Splash Lugana from Color and Cotton. And I got, I think, a fat quarter size, but it's by Zweigert. And I just realized I had another piece of that, but it was too small to do this on, which was why I went ahead and purchased this piece. But I love it. And here's my start. This is, again, a 32 count Lugana. Y'all know that's my wheelhouse. I did make a few floss changes, nothing major. At first, I was going to substitute the red for an overdyed, but then I found a red, but I found it in Etoile, DMC Etoile. So I have decided to do the red in the Etoile because it has a little bit of sparkle to it. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little bit of sparkle to it. And I have the regular red, it's DMC 666. I have that. I did his coat in that, but the Etoile I've used on the ornaments. And I used the plain on the red up here at the top. But now I took some Kreinik. I have a bunch of Kreinik blending filaments, and I found a yellowish gold one. And so I've been using it here, and then I used it on the little bits of yellow on the mouse. So I'm pretty excited about that. He's coming along nicely. I think this is like a little rocking horse right here, and then I'm gonna finish the next row. So I don't know how much I'm gonna work on this coming month because I have lots of plans for September, but I'm very excited to have the Nutcracker tree started by the Tiny Modernist, and I love her designs. So yeah, all the called for except for swapping out that Etoile. And actually I have the blending filament that I'm using. It is 091. So you see it's very yellow, but it's got some shimmer to it. So that's why I decided to use it. So that is my last new start that I'm super excited to be working on. So now I'm gonna get into my whips. One thing you're gonna notice right off the bat, these are some random whips, okay? I can't tell you why I picked what I picked to work on. I just went with what I felt like doing. I don't think I've mentioned it in my last video, but I've given up on whip go. It doesn't work for me. I may try again next year, and don't get me wrong, everything that I have been working on was on my whip go board. But it didn't fall when I wanted it to fall. I know that's not the purpose of it, but for me, it just isn't working. So I've let it go because I'm getting a lot done without it. So I'm just gonna let it go and do me. So this first whip, again, random. This one I started in December 26th to be, as a matter of fact. This was a Christmas start for me. And this was Cottage Garden Samplings, the Reindeer. I am doing this on a 32 count linen called Dawn by Picture This Plus. Y'all know how I am about linen. I don't do it. But this one, I wanted this color for this project, and the fox, which I'm going to do on the same piece of fabric. But I just wanted it on this fabric, and I'm actually doing okay. I'm not doing bad on it. And my goal this summer was to finish the head of the reindeer, and I have done that. So there it is. Head is done, antlers are done, and I'm coming down, getting ready to start the body. This is just a piece of fabric that I attached to this to make it easier to go in my hoop. But I love how it's turning out. I don't think I've ever worked on a linen this dark. I barely work on even weave or Aida this dark, but it's not bad. As long as I have good light, I'm good to go. So again, this is a 32 count, and this is Cottage Garden Samplings, the reindeer. Again, random, okay? And I'm putting this in one of my poinsettia bags for Christmas. This next one I had put down for a little while. I am participating in the Bake Me a Quaker Stitch Along with EJ of the Sunshine Stitchers. She started this in December of 2023, and it's a 13-month stitch along. It's gonna go until December 2024. So the first 12 months, you're working on the 12 parts of the project. She has divided it up. I don't know if I have my copy. I actually made a printout of it, made a photocopy of the front, and then I did, oh, yep, I have it. I am very behind, okay? I'm still in the middle row, and I should be on the bottom row. But this is what it looks like broken up, okay? This is what it looks like from the chart. So I worked primarily in the very, very middle. And that is how it was broken up. This was April, May, June, and July were in the middle. Well, I'm still in the middle, so I'm still on June and July. I did complete most of April. Yep. And then I still have July and May to do. But that's okay, because December, because it started in December last year, December this year is a catch-up month, which is why it's called Bake Me a Quaker SAL, because a Quaker's dozen is 13 and not 12. So I'm excited to be working on that. She does a Zoom for people that are working on the stitch along on the first Friday of every month. It would have been the first Friday of every month. I think she had one as a makeup Zoom yesterday, but I wasn't able to get on it. But it's usually on a Friday, so I'm hoping she'll have it again next week, because that is actually the first Friday of the month. So fingers crossed I'll be able to make that one whenever it is. But here is where I was, and then let me show you where I am. I'm pleased, and I feel like I'm back on track. I just completely stalled out on this, you all. For me, this is very, I don't even know the right word for it. I like it, but I definitely have to be in the mood to work on it, because there are no color changes in this. It's very monochromatic. I'm making each of the motifs a different color, but it still can be monotonous for me, being the type of stitcher that I am. You all, I like 25 count 1/1, and I like every 10 stitches to change. It does not bother me to change colors. Well, this doesn't have that. So what I've been doing to get back on track, and you can see I've done all of this since the last time you saw it. I think I was almost finished with this, but I did all of this the last time you saw it, since the last time you saw it. But to get myself back on track, I just said at the beginning of every stitching session, I usually stitch in the evenings before I go to bed, maybe an hour, hour and a half. So what I started doing was I would take a length of thread, and I would stitch that whole length of thread. So usually, it's 6 strands, 2 strands. This is 2/2 on 28 count Vapor by Atomic Ranch. So I just would divide that one string that I cut off into its 3 sections, and I'd stitch those 3 sections, and then I put it away. So that helped me to really get back on track. I did have to do quite a bit of frogging right in here. So that set me back a little bit, and I just had to really focus and say, okay, I'm not going to let that discourage me. Get back to it, girl. So that's what I've been doing. So I'm going to put in one thread tonight before I start whatever I'm going to work on tonight. But I'm super excited about this now that I'm back on track, and my goal is just to get all of this done by the end of September. So that is Bake Me a Quaker, 1 Dozen Quakers by Rosewood Manor. So up next, this is my bee. I've truly enjoyed working on it all summer. This is the Bengal Tiger. It came from a magazine many years ago. Somebody gifted it to me. I don't know where it came from, but I've had this pattern for at least 25 plus years. And I finally started working on it on New Year's Eve 2022. I did the New Year's Eve 12 by 12, and this was one of my starts for 2022. So I have decided this is going to be a finish in 2024 for real, because I've been working on it for more than a year. This is actually year 2, so I'm ready to be done. This is where I was the last time you saw it, and here's where I am now. This has been my main car stitch, but it's coming along. I've started here on the greenery. I finished this part down here earlier in the summer, and then I got going on this greenery. I'm right here. I did put a few stitches in this today. So right here is where I am. So now I'm going to start coming up, and I think it goes all the way around. So I still have quite a bit to do on this, even though the portrait of the tiger itself is complete. So all of this is 3 different shades of green. And then one of the shades of green I'm using in a project I'm getting ready to show you. So I need to go get another skein of that, because I'm pretty sure this is going to kill it, and I still need it for another project. But it has been a pleasure to stitch on. He's so regal. I'm eyeballing a few other big cat pictures that I'd like to do. I've done one previously, but I've got a couple more I want to do. But he's just great. Beautiful. She's beautiful. He's beautiful, whichever one it is. So this is the Bengal Tiger, and I'm very pleased with the progress I have made on it. And this is done on a 28 count wheat Lugana that I got from 123 Stitch. I really wish wheat came in 32 count, but this 28, it's nice. I really like it. So that is that project. Let me get a couple more on the boards for you. Like I said, I've been making sure, and I just been stitching, y'all. I just randomly, the tiger has been a constant. I have been working on that all summer long. The reindeer, I just said I wanted to get the head done. As soon as I was done with the head, I put it down. I'm gonna pick that probably back up, maybe late October and November is when I'll pick that back up. This next one, this one's kind of been a fluke I've been working on. This is an old, probably, I might as well say it's probably my oldest whip. It's done on a 14 count white Ada, and it doesn't look white right now. I'm looking forward to washing it, but this is Sweetheart. I actually picked this up. I keep saying I'm gonna pick it up, but I hadn't. All that needs to be done, you all, is the back stitch. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting it done. I'm knocking it out by the end of this year. So again, this is another project that before I start whatever I'm gonna work on as the main project for that evening, I'll pick this up, get a thread and back stitch, and get it done. So here's where it is. But again, this is a 14 count white Ada, and you can kind of see I did a little bit here, but you can really see what I've done in the tail. So yeah, I've done a little bit here and then in the tail, and that's it. I'm coming around. I think I might have outlined some of the legs, and then I'm coming up here around where the saddle is. So it's a few different colors that the back stitching is done in. So I'm just glad I've gotten it back out, and I'm working on it and getting it done. So that is Sweetheart by Teresa Wentzler. She's one of my favorites. I have a whole file. I have like a file box that I keep all my patterns in. She's got her own folder. So I plan to do many more of these if possible. So that is Sweetheart by Teresa Wentzler. These last few projects all are being done on Pattern Keeper. So I will have my more specific stats on these. I forgot to mention the project, the Nutcracker tree, that I'm also doing on Pattern Keeper because I got a digital copy. My progress on that was, that's a 7,064 stitch project. I am at 1,343 stitches, and that equals out to 19.01%. So almost 20% in just a couple of weeks that I've been working on it. I started on that on August 17th. So I've only been working on it for about 2 weeks. So I'm very pleased with my progress on that. This next project has been a staple all summer. I started it on Juneteenth, and this is the African Woman and Baby by Haynes Needlecrafts. I am doing this on another Atomic Ranch fabric, Amber Waves by Atomic Ranch, and it is also 28 count. I was in a Fabric of the Month club with Atomic Ranch Stitch New England, and the only kind I could get into was 28 count. So that was why I have some 28 counts, because I've kind of moved on from that. But I'm really enjoying these. All of these that are 28 count, I'm really enjoying them. So this is Haynes Needlecrafts. I'll put in where I was the last time, and here's where I am now. Needless to say, I need to get started on the back stitch, because that is coming next. Isn't she beautiful? But I think I was only up here on the head in this area, in the torso. Now I'm down to her legs. So I've got a little bit more to go on her legs, and then I have all of this greenery to tackle. Okay, just like on the tiger, I think this greenery is gonna take me out. And the same color that I'm using in the tiger also gets used in this greenery. So I'm gonna have to go get some more of that. But let me tell you the stats for this one. This is again 28 count Amber Waves from Atomic Ranch. I started this on Juneteenth, which is June 19th of 2024. This has 5,789 stitches, and I have completed 3,048. So I'm sitting at 52.65%. And I love her. The colors are just so vibrant. I had to pull out my ring light because it's getting a little dark, but hopefully you can see the vibrancy of those colors. But she has been fun to stitch. I'm looking forward to doing her legs and feet down here, and then I'm just going to start. You can tell I've already kind of started adding some of the greenery. But what I'm planning to do with this is, when I sit down to work on it, I'm going to get a length of 3371, I think is what is used on the back stitch, and do one length of a back stitch before I go back to my X's. So that way it's not so overwhelming at the end to get it done. But this is another staple for the rest of the year. I want this done by the end of this year. I'm not sure how I want to finish it yet. I will probably frame it, but we'll see. Maybe if I could find some kind of piece that I could incorporate it in, that would be good. But I think I'm just going to end up framing it. But this has been a very fun one. I already said when I'm finished with this one, I think there's a market to market pattern with some more African people in it that I want to do, so by the same company. So I think I'm going to go ahead and purchase one of those and start those. This is a fun stitch. It was a very fun stitch, and I just really like the vibrancy of the colors. Yeah, it's just fun to stitch. So I'm very pleased with that one. So that's another one slated for a finish. This next project is Jim of Jim Stitches and I have been working on our stitch along. We started a stitch along at the beginning of July, beginning of July. And we are working on, let me find my pattern, the Phoenix Sampler. This is by Twin Peak Primitives. You can get them, find them on Etsy. And I got my copy on Etsy and I got the digital copy. I am using some of the called for over dyes, and I have substituted many of the called for over dyes out with color and cotton threads. Like I said before, I just love going in the store, color and cotton store, and then I can just go down the wall and convert and pick and do whatever. So I try to do that on some things. She has all of the overdye brands, Weeks, Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks, but whenever I can, I try to substitute colors that she has to support her and her brand. So that's what I have done here. This is being stitched on 25 count even weave. Matter of fact, I got it from Quilter Station in Kansas City, but it is a vintage cloth by Lori Holt, which is a 25 count even weave. But that's the packaging it came in, and the color is Shadow. So it's a very, very light gray. I am doing this on Pattern Keeper. So here is my progress. I'll put up where I was, hopefully, but there's my progress. And hopefully my ring light's not washing it out too much. But I had to hurry up. I did the border over here, and then I immediately came down so I can get started on that lovely rose bouquet in the middle. And then I'm probably going to keep going straight down and tackle that house. So I love it. It's pretty. My stats for this is a 24,009 stitches project, and I have done 3,399 stitches, and that is 14.16%. So not bad. I have not worked on this as much, but I definitely wanted to mention Sampler September. This is going to be one of my focus pieces for that. I have never participated in Sampler September before. I've never stitched a lot of samplers, but when I was looking through my projects that I currently have, I've got a few. This one and the next one are definitely samplers. So those two would be enough to really participate, but I have others. I consider the 1 Dozen Quakers to be a Quaker sampler, so I'm going to continue working on that one. And I've got a couple others that I'm going to share at the end with my plans, but it is really, really pretty. The over dyes are nice. The 1/1 is so fun. That's just my wheelhouse. That's why I love Heaven and Earth Designs, because that's what I do those on, over 1. But it is really coming along. I'm very pleased with it. I'm going to definitely go all out in the month of September to make some progress on this. And Jim just did a video not too long ago, and she showed her progress. So hopefully you were able to catch her video. Stitching Jim is her channel. But love it, love it, love it. And I made my grime guard myself. So I have to make some more because I have a lot of projects that don't seem to have a grime guard on them. So I got to get that done. Oh, and Jim also made this fabulous bag for me. She used my tutorial, she said, to do this bag for me, and she made one for herself so we could be twins while we work on this project. So I really love it, and I'm so glad that she thought of me and blessed me with one of these bags. So thank you, Jim, and I'm looking forward to seeing your progress, girl. And if anybody else is participating, put it up on Instagram and tag us so we can come over and take a look. My last whip, that was quite a few. My last whip, you all, is another sampler, another Juneteenth start. And this is This Juneteenth Day by Shaded Stitchery. So I'm really excited about this one. It's a little slow going because this is a lot of 3371, as you can see, a lot. So I'm okay with that. I'm plugging along. This was a great car stitch because I only had one color to focus on and I had good light in the car. So this was a really great stitch to do in the car. I think I worked on this on the way back from Indiana, which I'll talk about at the end. But I worked on it Juneteenth, around that time frame, and then I picked it up again earlier this month. So this is where I was, and this is where I currently am. So I'm still in that very top band. It is very stitch heavy. You need to make sure you're counting properly because you do not want to mess up your gaps, okay? Because these are not going to be filled in. I think the only one that's going to be filled in is this. Now, you all, I was a little worried because look at this. This is the middle of the sampler. I was so afraid I was going to run out of space, but I think I'm going to be okay. I am definitely a measure 3-4 times, cut once, but I didn't even cut this fabric. This is Dusty Cottage by Bestitch Me, 32 count Lugana, and it was in a recent fabric of the month that I received. I knew it was a certain length across, I think 18. And then it's 27 the other way. And this is a longer sampler. So I did the math, and actually I'm looking at it now, and it measures 13 inches, 12 by 13. So 12 this way, 13 this way. So I should be okay with 18 inches. So what that leaves me at least three on each side, which is what I planned. But still, I had a moment of panic because I was in the car and I'm like, whoa, I'm just now getting to the middle. So do I have enough? So I came home and I folded it in half right there, and I'm like, okay, I should be okay, but you never know. We've all done it. We've all miscalculated. We've all turned the fabric the wrong direction. We've all done it. I just didn't want to do it on this because this is a lot of stitching. So this is, again, 32 count Dusty Cottage by Bestitch Me, and the stats on this are 12,676 is the number of stitches total, and I have done 1,069 stitches, and that's 8.43%. And actually this was a car stitch both times. I have not worked on this outside of traveling, but this is going to be part of my Sampler September projects. So I'm going to keep this one out. I have like a little one of those hard-sided fabric bins that sits on the floor next to my bed, and I just keep all my project bags in there. This one is staying, so I can make sure that I work on this regularly throughout the month of September. So I'm super excited about that. I know when I start putting in a little more time, it's going to go quick. If you are not familiar with Shaded Stitchery, she is on Gumroad. She has PDF downloads and recently launched her paper charts. All of her charts are now available on paper. So go check her out. She has a lot of designs, and I'm checking her out regularly myself because she comes out with new designs pretty regularly. So those are all my whips for the rest of this summer. And I'm going to let you know what I've got for plans, and I've got some purchases that I made. Before I get to my plans, I have something that I need your help with. My mom is a quilter. My mom is an avid quilter. It would blow you all's mind if you all saw the quilt tops my mom has completed during the course of the last 20 years. It's amazing to me, and I'm right there. Have had a front row seat to see her do all these things, but it amazes me how prolific she is with quilting. I'm hoping one day she will let me show you all some of her work. But she does all of my quilting for my quilts, and she does a lot of pieces that have a lot of small pieces. I feel like she does things I would never even attempt, and she does them so well. But she is looking for a pattern that was in the Quilters newsletter magazine. I believe it was 2004 when it first appeared. And I'm going to put in a picture of the quilt from that magazine so you can see. But it was a 6-part series, and the name of the quilt was the Hearts and Apron Strings quilt. And it was a 6-part series that started in the April 2004 issue. Well, she is missing 2 of the issues. And I told her this community is deep, so somebody has to have these magazines that she needs. She says she thinks she needs the 2nd and the 3rd installment. So I don't know if this magazine came out every month or if it was quarterly, but she has number 1, because that is the picture that I'm going to show you. And then I think she needs parts 2 and 3, but I will put down below if that is not the case, if it's something different. But I know she has part 1, but it was some parts in the middle, because you know how they do those series and they just give a part every issue. Well, she does not have 2 and 3, and I do not think Quilters Newsletter magazine is published anymore. I did find a couple of issues of it on eBay, but they were ridiculously high. So if anybody out here has those issues or know somebody who has those issues, if you could just email me at CoryCreates 08 on Gmail. Okay, CoryCreates 08 on gmail.com, and my email address is below. Or you can message me on Instagram. I do answer those. If you could just message me and let me know if you have it, if you'd be willing to part with it, copy it, whatever. She just really wants to do this quilt, and she's missing a couple of the parts of the instructions and would like to have them to complete it. So again, I'll try and put down below the specific ones, but when I talked to her earlier today, she wasn't at home, so she couldn't tell me for sure. But I think it was 2 and 3 that she needed. So thank you if you have any leads on that project for me. The other thing I wanted to do was give a couple of shout outs. One was to a new Flosstuber. What a delight she was. Her name is Barbara, and she is Stitching and Tea with B. I discovered her earlier this summer, binge watched all of her episodes. I believe she has at least 4. She may have 5, but I'm pretty sure it was just 4. But she has amazing stitching that she shows. A lot of it are things that I would like to stitch or am planning to stitch. But she also talks about tea, and I always have tea with me when I'm on Flosstube. I have my teacup sitting here right now. But she always tells us the type of tea that she's drinking, why she drinks it, and where she purchases it. It's just really nice. And I think she was doing them at the end of her videos, but now I think she's doing it at the very beginning. But all I know is I got to give me some nettle tea. She does drink a lot of black tea. I prefer green, but she has mentioned some green teas that she has and some companies that she gets her tea from very often. So Barbara, thank you so much. I love your videos. I've just loved watching you. So, and I don't know if she watches me, but I just really enjoyed. So if you have not, go check out Stitching and Tea with B. She's got some great videos, great projects, and I just love her knowledge about tea. I have a cabinet full of tea, and you all never see me drink on camera. I never drink on camera, so, but yeah, but I'll show you my teacup before we go at the end. The other person I wanted to shout out was Sienna. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. I'm not going to say her last name, but she's Sienna from Philly, and she ordered a project bag for me, and she messaged me and sent me the sweetest note on Etsy, thanking me for the bag and telling me how much she enjoyed it. And she also mentioned that she watched my channel. So hi Sienna, thank you so much, and thank you to all of you that have been going to my Etsy shop, purchasing bags. I really appreciate it. Now that my daughter is gone, that's my going to see her money when I get a chance. But I just appreciate you all. Fall and Christmas bags are I'm steadily putting those out. I'm restocking some bestsellers from the past that I've gotten a chance to restock. Just thank you for everybody that has purchased and mentioned me. Shout out to Sheila of the Sunshine Stitchers. I know she mentioned and showed one of my bags recently. So thank you all. I just appreciate your support. I'm glad you like my products, and I'm coming to you constantly now that summer has passed. I didn't get as many done over the summer as I wanted, but I'm kind of on a roll right now. So I've got quite a few new designs, and again, bestsellers that are getting restocked. You all, when you see it in my Etsy shop, it's ready to go. So I try to ship it pretty quick to you, but it's never a time where it's in the shop, but I have to make it. No, if it's there, it's ready to ship. So just keep that in mind. So thank you for that. And let's talk about plans. September plans include the ones I previously showed you. The Juneteenth Day and Phoenix Sampler. Those are my two definite focuses for September, Sampler September. But I also have Seeds of Freedom that I want to pick back up. I started this in February, I think. This is where I am. So I'm ready to get back to it. I have not worked on it since the last time I showed it to you. But I'm ready to get back to it. I'm done, almost done with that first section, and I would like to make a good dent in the second section. So that's on my list to work on. The next thing, and it is not a sampler, but I want to work on it anyway, and that's Annie's Market. Okay, Annie's Market. I am done with the first half, so now I'm ready to tackle the top half. So that's where I am. So I don't think I've picked this up since the spring, but I love this fabric. I don't remember what it is offhand. I promise to tell you next month, but I'm ready for this to be done. So I'm gonna jump in, and that's a fall piece anyway. So I've been waiting to get back to it for September. So that's Annie's Market, and this is from a magazine, the October 2004 issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine. So I'm going to get back to that and get that finished. I'm going to pick up the Blue Flowers in Praise of Pollinators. I consider that a sampler. So I'm going to pick that back up. This is where I am. So I'm ready to get away from this bird and these leaves. So I'm going to pick that back up and move on with that. And I want to pick up Vintage Baker again. You all, I feel so bad. That is my Heaven and Earth design has been my bread and butter, and I have not touched it since winter. Like maybe March. That was the last time I touched it. I don't even know what's gotten into me. So I'm getting back to that this fall. And I'm going to work on it diligently through the end of the year. My goal for that was a row finish. I'm nowhere near that, but I'm going to keep plugging away. I've got to. Those are years and years long projects. I don't need to be skipping any months working on it. So I got to at least make an effort to work on it at least a little bit every month to make progress. And I love the pattern, so I don't know what my problem is. The other thing, I'm probably going to continue with African Woman and Baby, at least do a little bit. Same thing with Bengal Tiger. Those two are both close to finishes, and I want them to be finished by the end of 2024. This next one, actually this is the last one that I have on my list to work on in September. I have not touched it all year, and I have 3 or 4 projects like that each, at least one of them every month, I'm going to work on at least one of them to make sure that I touch them before the end of the year. And this next one is Welcome, and I consider that a sampler, but it is by 13th Colony. I picked this up, a good 20 years ago when I was visiting in Atlanta at a shop in Atlanta. But I'm going to show you where I am. I have not made any progress this year. I have not touched it. I'm not even sure I touched it for 12 by 12 on New Year's Eve, but this is where I am. My goal for this project is to finish the stitching on the pineapple. There's also beads on the pineapple. I don't know if I'm gonna finish all that, but I definitely want to finish the stitching on the pineapple for Sampler September. And then maybe put our name on down here, our family name down here. and then I'll continue with the scroll work. But it's not that much more scroll work, but then I don't know if you can see it, but there's some like an archway in white that goes all the way around. This is being done on a, I think it's a 28 count linen, natural grain linen. Ugh. But one thing I figured out, I needed to go up on my needle size. I went up to a 24 count needle instead of the 26 that I normally use on everything. I just use 26s on everything. 24 works better on this because the holes are kind of big. Same thing for my Spirit Dancer. That's also on linen. And as you can see, that's probably why I haven't touched them that much, because they're linen. But this one and that one, the Spirit Dancer, that's going to be my project for next month that I touch, because I have not touched that all year either. But both of them, I like to use a 24 needle instead of a 26. So I think that will help me to get over the hump with this one. Plus this one is pearl cotton instead of embroidery floss. I think this, no, I take that back. It's all pearl cotton. It's all pearl cotton. So that's also what made this different for me. But I love it. And I want this to be in the foyer of our home, you know, so it kind of can, because the pineapple is a symbol of hospitality and welcome and things of that nature. So I want this to be somewhere displayed in the foyer. So I need to get this done. So that is another thing that I plan to work on in September. I'm going to give you my kind of life update while I'm going through my purchases. I've got a whole bunch of stuff down here. Matter of fact, I'm going to sit it up here on this table so I can get to it easier. But I have made quite a few, well, not a lot of purchases. I was very intentional about what I bought because Needlework Galleria is coming up here in the St. Louis area. Excuse this rattling paper real quick. And I do plan to attend. It is being held, I believe, still at the Embassy Suites in St. Charles, Missouri, which is a suburb basically in the metro area of St. Louis where I live. This will be my 4th year, I think, going. I wasn't sure I was going to go this year, but I think I am. And I think I'm going to be there Thursday night, which is September 12th. It's September 12th through the 14th, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And normally I go Friday and Saturday, but I think I may only go on Thursday. Just because Thursday is the night that I've never been able to attend, because I've always been sitting at a volleyball game, and this year I'm not. So I'm going to try to get there on Thursday, because I think that's the day that a lot of the fabrics sell out. So I would like to get in there and see if I can get in there and get some stuff. I know Fabrics by Stephanie is usually there. The Silver Needle is usually there. Needlework Gym is usually there. Rosewood Manor is usually there. So it's quite a few. I don't know if she's going to be there this year, but in the past, oh, I can't think of her name. I'm not going to mention it. I don't want to get it wrong. But I bought a pattern from her last year. I know Stacy Nash was there last year, but I looked at the list, the vendor list, and I was like, okay, there's enough people that I want to go see. So I'm shooting for Thursday night. If I go another day, it will be Saturday, because normally I usually take off Friday and go Friday and Saturday, but I don't think I'm going to do that this year. Thursday is only from like 4 to 9, so I'm already off work by then. So I'm just going to try and do 4 to 9. So that's one thing I have going on also in September 12th through the 14th is Needlework Galleria here in St. Louis. So almost all of my purchases, well, I think all of my purchases came unexpectedly. As you all know, my daughter has gone away to school. She did come back home at the end of July, and it was crazy. She flew back in. We flew her back in on, I believe, the 25th. That's when she was supposed to get here, because on the 26th, I'm sorry, because I think on that Saturday, the 27th, whatever that Saturday was, that last Saturday in July, we had a memorial service that we had to go to in Kansas City. And so we were going to fly her home so she would get a chance to go with us, because that's the side of my family, is my mom's side of the family that we don't get to see that often. So I wanted her to go, you know. And do you know, she missed her flight home. The New Orleans, there are no direct flights from St. Louis to New Orleans. So she had to go to Houston, and then from Houston up here. Well, her connecting flight to Houston left before she got to Houston. There was some weather or something that prevented them from landing on time. And then when they did land on time, they got there in time, but then there was no gate for them to pull up to once they landed. So they still didn't get there on time, early, or anything. And she missed her connect to St. Louis. So we ended up going to Kansas City without her. But when my dad ended up having to get her, so when we got home, she was here. But it was still like, man, you know, plus I was ready to see her. I hadn't seen her in over a month. So she is doing well. She is playing volleyball. And it turns out her first tournament was last weekend in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Well, she goes to school in New Orleans. That's a drive to watch her play. So we decided to drive last weekend to Fort Wayne to see her. We got there at about 1 o'clock, and no, we got there about noonish, I'll say. And we went to the hotel that I had booked, and they told us it was going to be $40 extra if we checked in before 2. And we were like, So we had about an hour or so to kill. So my husband was like, well, let's just go sit in the car. And I'm like, I don't want to sit in the car. I said, I got my phone out. Let me see if there's any cross-stitch shops here. I hadn't looked ahead of time. I should have, but I didn't. Because I didn't think I was going to have time. And, you know, y'all just don't, I love my husband, but he don't like, you know, he not doing all that. Well, there was one 15 minutes away from our hotel. So y'all can sit in the car on that parking lot, not this one. So that's what we did. And that's how we do when we go somewhere. My husband does all the highway driving. And then when we get in the city or wherever we're going, I do all the driving. Because I think I'm a better city navigator than he is. And plus he's tired. He's been driving. I think that drive was like 5.5 hours. So he's tired. So I don't mind driving once we get there. Definitely. I mean, he doesn't like for me to drive on the highway. It's not that I'm a bad driver or anything. He just likes to do it. So I let him. And that's my stitching time. So that's when I did the Nutcracker. I worked on Nutcracker, and on the way home I worked on this Juneteenth day. So I love it that he prefers to be the driver. But then when we get to the city, I do the driving. So I pulled this shop up, and the shop was Stitch and Frame. I'm sure you all are familiar with this place. I saw a video by 14 Count Ada Girl, and she did a tour of this shop. But that's the information. And if you like charts, this is the place to go. I have just a Google doc that I type up all of the charts that I want to possibly future purchase. This document, you all, is 4 pages, 2 pages front and back. I went to this shop, and it was like, oh, when I walked in. Okay, all Mirabilia, Stony Creek, Prairie Schooler, just everything you could think of. I can't even think right now, but any brand that you can think of that has a paper chart, they had it. So I'm like, wow, I know I'm gonna get some stuff knocked off this list. Y'all, not one thing that I purchased was on my list because I saw stuff. I mean, it had been in my list in my mind, I think. It was things that I wanted, but I had never, I don't know, it wasn't on the list. Not one thing was on the list. I didn't cross off anything off my list. Everything that I bought wasn't on the list. I was like, really, Corinne? Really? But I'm very pleased with my purchases. And like I said, I did not go crazy because I knew Galleria was coming. And I want to just finish some things. So here's what I got. I got the Floral Alphabet by JBW Designs. I already took this to work and blew it up because it is tiny. I mean, it measures, I mean, look at that. That's tiny. I can't see that. 114 by 148. There's no way it should be on this little bitty piece of paper. So I took it to work and I've already made my working copy, and I made it, I think I like 150%. I blew it up. So I have, and I meant to bring the thread out here that I'm going to use on it, but I'll show it when I finally get started. And this is a sampler, so this may be my new start for next month. We'll see. But isn't that beautiful? And they had a sample on the wall, and I really liked it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and get that. And there's a variegated DMC that I've got like 4 or 5 skeins of that I think I'm gonna use for this. So that's a definite possibility as being a contender for next month. Now these next 2 are part of a series. These 2 are the Main Street series by Country Cottage Needleworks. So technically, I guess this was on my list, but not really. But I got the grocery store and the cafe. The grocery and the cafe. I love these nice bright colors. I have not found a fabric to put these on yet. I think the called for was something like Starlight. It's like a green, a bright minty green. But I don't know if I want to do it on that. But that grocery store is pink, y'all. I had to get that. Almost like a coral pink. And I already have the flower shop. So this is going to be a series, and I have not decided how I want to do them. They did them in pillows. I may do them in pillows as well, or I may put them all in one piece. I haven't decided yet. So that was my one fabric purchase, or chart purchase. This other one is the latest Hometown Holiday. This is number 25, Little House Needleworks Hometown Holiday series. I have quite a few of these, and this is the birdhouse. I thought that was super cute. So no brainer, grab that one. The next chart, it should have been on my list, but it wasn't for some reason. And this is Stony Creek. And I don't know about you all. Do y'all remember in the 80s, Stony Creek was basically the stuff. Okay, that was the company. I used to buy them because you got more than one chart in the pack. They usually had booklets. So I liked that. And that's what I usually purchased. So I had quite a few Stony Creeks in my stash. But this one is Winter in the Village. They had all of them. I think they had summer, spring, fall, and winter. And I just like the winter one. So I'm going to start with that one. And you see, that's going to be a little time consuming. So I'm going to at least wait until I get it started before I go buy the others. But Winter in the Village by Stony Creek. I love it. Y'all know I'm a sucker for a house. So that was another one. And then my last chart purchase. I may do this for my son. My son is very into nature ever since he was tiny. I mean, could barely read, and he knew what birds were what, especially birds. Birds are his thing, but he likes the nature shows. But he used to always get those National Geographic little kid almanacs and things when he was little. Whenever he asked for a book, that's what my dad and bonus mom would buy him for Christmas, those little type of books. And he loves to read, so he would read about animals and things. But birds, he really knows birds. And we live at our old house. We had a lake in our subdivision. And then here at this apartment complex, there's a lake. So we get a lot of wildlife. And birds are some of the things we see a lot of. And I'll never forget, he was little. He was like 3 or 4. And there was a blue heron at the lake where we used to live. And he told me, he said, "Mom, that's a heron. That's a blue heron." And I'm like, how does this little 4-year-old know what this is? So I looked it up, and he was right. And we saw one out here a few days ago. And so, I mean, it's a big bird. I'll see if I still have the picture of it on my phone, and I'll put it up here for you to see. But he knows his birds. He knows most animals, but his birds, he really knows them. And he's 12 now. So I saw this, and I said, I got to get it. But this is the cross-wing collection. And this is the great blue heron. Isn't he beautiful? So I'm on a mission for some fabric to do him on. But he is quite large. I don't have the dimensions, but I'll make sure I share them whenever I get started on it. But he's gorgeous. His eye and the dragonfly flying next to him are 1/1. But I am looking forward to this. I am definitely going to make sure I download and figure out how to use Markup XP so I can do this on that, because I think this chart will drive me nuts otherwise. Yeah, I want to say it had about 25, 30 colors. DMC is the call for, but I showed it to him just to see what his reaction would be. And he was like, oh, you know, he's never been interested in anything that I stitch. I mean, he's interested because I'm his mom, but not for real. And so he saw this and he was like, ooh, that's pretty. You know, he's like, that looks nice. You gonna stitch that? I'm like, yeah, I think so. He was like, oh, okay. So that may be a future gift for him if he wants it. But I'm definitely gonna leave it to him in my wheel. So when I get it done. But I love this. So when I saw that, I said, yeah, that's a must get. So that was my last chart purchase from there. I did get a few pieces of fabric, 3 to be exact. This is 32 count Lugana. I think all of them, 2 of them are 32 count Luganas, but this is Stormy Night, I think. And it is printed because the backside is plain. So this is one of those printed ones. The modeling is only on the front. I don't think I have any of this. I think I've been wanting to get some, but I hadn't found any. So I got some of that. And I also got some light ash gray Lugana, 28 count. And then I just got some 32 count platinum, so I can finish those hometown holidays on that. So that was the damage I did at Stitch and Frame. So if that's your needlework store, you are very fortunate. She had threads as well, but I mean, just the charts. Just the charts alone. And that's a lot of what I like to look at. Since I've been in these fabric of the months, I don't have as much need for fabric, but I do when there's something specific. But lately I've been doing good pulling out my stash. And speaking of fabrics of the month, I had 2 that came in. This was my July from Bestitch Me, and that's coconut shell. Love it. It's very pretty. But that was July. 32 count Lugana is what I get from Brandy. And this was August that I just got earlier this week. And this is Sandbar. I thought about this for that heron. But that is Sandbar. Isn't that pretty? Lots of great modeling on that. So we'll see. I'll see how much I like it. But those were my purchases. And then the last one, I believe the person I saw show this was Cross Stitch the Globe. I think. If that's wrong, I'll try to correct it down below. But she had some cross stitch stuff that she got from Target. Now, I'm a Target shopper. And I know if I wouldn't have seen this on her channel, I would have missed this. But you all, this is a UB DIY journal cross stitch set. Look at that. It's a notebook. And you can cross stitch the lid, the front, the cover. And then it's just a regular notebook on the inside. You know, I ran to the store to get this. And when they put the school supply stuff on clearance, I'm going to go back and see if I can find them. Now, she also showed a little pencil pouch. And they had it. But I just like, nah, I don't want that. But this, I can do something with it. And I'm not going to do these dry colors they got on the front. I'm going to do something else. So I got to I'm going to count the holes on this and treat it like it's Ada and figure out a design that I can put on this. They had this also, I want to say, in like a gray cover. So check in your school supply area. That's where this was, in the school supplies. You know how they usually have the school supplies all together in the back of the store. That's where I found this. And my store, the store I went to, had quite a few. But that was like 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, neat. So I'm gonna find something to stitch on it. It's not gonna be this little tired little heart they got on here. I'm gonna try to find something a little more elaborate. I don't know what. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. Just a brief little life update to wrap this video up. School has started for me. I just completed my 2nd week. I'm so glad for this 3-day weekend. I don't know what to do. Labor Day weekend here in the States. It's been okay. I've been more productive at the beginning of the school year than I feel like I've been in the past. So it's good. I mean, we're still in the honeymoon phase. The kids haven't started clowning yet. But I'm teaching 4 sections of basic foods and 1 section of baking and pastries. So it's going well. You know, these first couple of weeks we spent a lot of time, at least in my area, on routines and, you know, how to follow certain things, do the same thing the same way all the time, in and out of the kitchen, just to keep it clean and things like that. So I'm just trying to run them through the routines. They made chocolate chip cookies this week, both them and my baking class. Next week we branch out into some other things. So it's been good. It's a good start to the year. Trent, of course, hit the ground running. Layla's doing good. She's pre-med, so she's got chemistry and biology and those types of things. So those are keeping her busy because there's also a lab component with those. But you all, she's navigating college life really well. She's so busy though. I don't talk to her very often, but when I do talk to her, it's like she throws up on me. She just tells me everything. And yesterday I called her on the way home from work and she was free. So we had a nice, I think it was about an hour-long conversation before she had to go get ready for her match that evening. But she's playing all weekend. Matter of fact, she was playing when I started this video. And they broadcast her school's volleyball games on YouTube, so we can watch them. So that's nice. She's getting playing time. That's all we were wanting her to have. Make sure she got playing time. And she's doing that. So she's doing the doggone thing. We're very proud of her. Just keep your eyes on the prize. You want to be a doctor, so keep your eyes on the prize. Don't know when we're going to see her again. Don't know when she's going to be able to come home. If they do well, we're going to try to go down and maybe go to a home game. But other than that, it looks like we might not see her till Christmas break. We'll see what Thanksgiving looks like, but it may be too small of a window if she has to play during that week for us to see her. But again, we're proud of her. I am still working on her t-shirt quilt. And thank you to those of you that have watched my video on how to stabilize t-shirts for a t-shirt quilt. I just thought I'd put together a video on how to do that, I think. And I had a couple people comment saying, you know, that's the part that really intimidated them. So I was glad that that was a helpful video for them. So if you ever want to make a t-shirt quilt, that would be a good video to start with, to tell you what kind of stabilizers you can purchase, how to do the math, because it is some math involved in all quilting, but especially a t-shirt quilt, because you're starting with something and you really don't know what size you're starting with as far as the shirts go. So thank you to everybody that watched that video, and thank you to you all that keep watching my project bag video. I'm glad that has been so helpful for so many of you all. I've got a couple other tutorials that I'm working on. Those just take a lot of time to film, and I try to be concise with my wording and with my instructions, so they take a little bit longer to put together. But I am going to put at least one more together for you all before the end of the year. So hopefully you will enjoy that. As soon as I practice it a little more, I like to come before you with all my ducks in a row and techniques down pat. So that's why I don't produce them as much as I would like to. Let me just check my notes and see if there was anything else that I forgot. No, I haven't given up on my half 100 projects, you all. I just think I've come to another conclusion this year. Starting a project for me is hard. I don't know why. it's really hard. I guess because, well, I don't know why. I've just discovered that. I'm doing good with my starts though. I'm gonna definitely get to at least 25 starts this year. But starting is hard for me. And I don't understand that, because some of y'all start stuff all the time. And for me, starting is hard. I don't know what it is, but I have enjoyed all of my starts this year, and I've actually finished some of them. So this was not a bad challenge for me, even though I'm not sure I'm going to make it at least for the 25 finishes part. But I think I have like 6 finishes so far this year. But the starts, I've been kind of doing those. So thank you all for being with me today on this journey. I have no idea how long this is going to be once I edit, but thank you so much. Let me show you my teacup like I said I would. I like these ones with the lid to help keep your tea warm. I've got a Maui Surprise or something is the name of this tea. It's actually a herbal tea. Herbal and green are what I like. So that's my cup that I usually have sitting here, and I have one on my desk at work with the little lids on them. So thank you all. Thank you for your support of my Etsy shop. Check it out if you're looking for something new or need something to put your new stuff in. I will be back. I probably will not be back before I go to Galleria, but look for me after Galleria, because I'm sure I'll have some things to share. If you're going to be at Galleria, please let me know. Even if you're going to be there on Saturday, I can be happy to drive over to the Embassy Suites to say hi. So let me know if you're going to be there, and I would love to meet some of you all. So have a great rest of the summer. Yes, it's still summer. It's summer till the weather says otherwise. So enjoy the rest of your summer. Those of you in the States, enjoy your holiday weekend. I know some of you are glad those kids are back in school. So fall is coming. I look forward to sharing more with you next time. Please like and subscribe. And as always, be blessed.